A crumpled billboard reading, "Samaran butter soaks in the canal." Two ugly lines mar the bright countenance of the blonde boy depicted. The sign billboard has fallen on the waterlock, keeping it open, and thus out of order. Whatever it is, the boy on the billboard seems very happy about it. Goat milk butter. The Samaran terrain makes it easier to raise goats than cows, and the local goat farmers produce high-quality meat and dairy staples that add variety to other nations' diets. It's an acquired taste. Judging by the size of the impact and the parallel lines of burnt rubber, the cause was probably a motor vehicle. These look like the same tire tracks I saw earlier, in front of the whirling rags. Side slip marks indicated that the vehicle was traveling up the crater at 35 kilometers an hour. The black marks on the roof indicate that the vehicle vaulted from the crater to the roof of the shack. The panel served as a takeoff ramp. The vehicle soared through the air, hitting the billboard and upsetting the posts. Then it continued its flight, taking the billboard with it. The sign broke the vehicle's fall into the canal. The Samaran butter billboard still looks freshly painted, suggesting it took the plunge recently, within the past 72 hours. Still speeding, the vehicle made a loop and vanished into the fog along the coast. There are two good candidates, the Caprice 40 and the Linear G22. It's about the right size, and the tire marks look like they came from the skinny tires frequently found on that motor carriage. The Caprice 40 is a very popular model, with bank clerks, topping pie delivery drivers, secondary school teachers, cops, strippers dressed as cops, undressed strippers. Very sturdy but light motor carriage, more likely than most to survive that jump. The Linear G22 is not a particularly popular model due to its peculiar proportions, which the manufacturer's design team probably thought about for too long. You'd have to follow the tracks to be sure. The lieutenant looks on, waiting for you to wrap up your analysis.
Any theories about what happened here? What kind of car do you think it was? That's quite likely, from what I can tell. Oh. The traffic hooliganism? I hope not. Fortunately, we are not traffic cops. Should we get back to the murder?
Somewhere in the depths of your alcohol-addled soul, you find a few threads that you can weave into a story.
The tip-top tourney champion?
The lieutenant patiently listens to the words coming from your mouth.
Jumping canals at night? If I was Jacob Irv, I wouldn't drive in Martinez. The roads are awful. In conclusion, it's a colorful theory, but I don't believe Jacob Irv did this. Should we go? If we must.
A couple of indicator lights are missing from this control panel. Loose wires dangle from the now vacant holes. In the middle is a lever. Beneath it, a small metal plaque. This panel usually closes the waterlock, turning it into a bridge that lets you cross the canal. But there's a crashed Samaran butter sign in the way. Pulling the lever probably won't do anything. You pull the lever all the way up until the metal clicks against the contact pins. You hear a soft clunk. Then, Nothing happens. Nothing happens. A cold gust of wind blowing in from the sea interrupts the silence of the situation. A spring brings the lever back to its original position. You still need to close the waterlock to get across the canal, some other way. Wasn't there a sign over there saying functionality will be restored on Wednesday morning?
Good morning to you, officers.
A burly man hangs out by the waterlock, carving up a generous serving of salami with an old hunter's knife. His eyes are fixed on a man stranded on the other side of the waterlock and on an enormous billboard that has fallen down into the canal between them.
I wasn't here to witness it, but those look like tire tracks on that sign. Weird, huh? Then again, plenty of daredevil drivers in Rivershoal. Too bad it also takes a year and a day to repair anything around here, especially a waterlock. The rest of the coast is closed off till then. It's supposed to operate the waterlock, but as noted, it's all junk right now. Disabled because of the blockage. Safety measure. Turns out the panel needs a special key to be reactivated. Wouldn't want anyone moving the waterlock with debris still in the channel. It'll be restarted on Wednesday morning. You want to do the honors when the time comes? Great! Just drop in on Wednesday if you want to see the waterlock at work. They say the canal crew will be here at 7:15.
The coast part of the map is inaccessible until the third day.
Well, there's the fishing village, an abandoned fish market, a bizarro church. Not much use to the congregation, though. There always seems to be something wrong with it. Yeah, not really much else. Just bombed out ruins. Sure thing.
It is salty, it is savory, it is chewy. The hangover only makes the salami more tasty.
Want some too, officer?
Why not?
An intricate web of blue line, the pattern still. The note is written with a blue pencil. The worn map feature. It's the ledger you found in the trash. A cabbage without resistance or sound. The two panels move against each other. The compartment, thin wax paper, has been glued to a piece of cardboard. Familiar handwriting lines the inside of the card. Looped, round letters in a woman's hand. A young woman in her 20s. There is care, effort, and a smile, you think. Although that is not something you can read from someone's handwriting. Harry, it begins. You're already reading. I wanted to write you a letter so you can read it when you wake up. Maybe it will make you happy. Throw it away, please. Your hand shakes, holding the card. Every morning when I step out and you're asleep behind me, it says, I find a little piece of sadness in me. I carry it in my chest, down Voyager Road. Every step I take, it grows. By the time I reach the fuel station, it has filled me entirely. I step onto the light rail and look back. Sparks fall from the bow collector. I know it will be like this until late afternoon, when I get off the 42 and walk back to you. You. Every step I take will get lighter. It almost makes me run. Sometimes I do. I can't believe I met you. I can't believe the happiness I feel with you. You have a vast, vast soul, and I will always, always, always come back to it. Kisses, kisses, kisses. You feel the air sucked out of your lungs and the blood sucked out of your head. Everything around you gets dark. Small white dots appear. Sparks fall like snow from the bow collector. A streetcar distancing. You feel the ledger slip from your hand. No, hold on. To what? There's nothing.
Detective, is everything all right?
There is nothing. Again. Nothing sad, brother. No treachery, just blackout. Well, almost nothing. There is the ground below you, that's still there. And the small light that's on, fluttering, somewhere in the basal ganglia. That's me. Blue eyes, that's me. Who was what?
He speaks of the sickening longing, the unwell emotion. Even in the darkness, he's grasping for it. Still trying to hold on to the great sorrows slipping in the water. Slimy. Here in the paleo-mammalian cortex, we call it the shadow. Because it's always there.
Tell him.
Ah, yes. In the olfactory system, they call it the apricot chewing gum scented one. It's unhealthy of them to linger on it so. But as they say, what do you do? It didn't smell nice. It smelled like betrayal.
Yeah, man. What was that about? There is no Voyager Road. There are no roads, no houses, no lights in the windows. It's all on pause. Bloated corpse of the past resurfacing. Don't prod at it. It will start moving again. You think they would let you? Until you disintegrate into biomolecules? No. Someone is breathing on your face now, inspecting your pupils, stupid idiot.
Yes, they're pouring something on you. It's in you. And
It's delicious. Glowing lights on a dashboard emerge out of nothingness. In the upholstered cabin of Lieutenant Kitsuragi's motor carriage, seated in the driver's basket, the air is thick with leatherworks and heavy fuel oil. Cold water runs down your chin.
Drink. Water.
The water is cold, silvery, the stuff of life itself as it pours down your parched throat. The pounding in your head recedes. The darkness parts.
Drink. You haven't drunk water in 2 days. Did you know the human body is not made to survive on alcohol alone? You need a secondary form of hydration. That's just a drug addict myth. In reality, you're still comprised of dihydrogen oxide, which you must replenish to go on living.
With greedy gulps, you down half a liter of cold water. Some of it spills on the driver's seat. The lieutenant pays no heed to it.
What happened? You were reading your paperwork. Then you passed out. I carried you to my kinema to take you to a hospital. Then you came to. 10 minutes, maybe. That does sometimes happen.
He replies with such understanding, it's as if the burnt-out ruins of the past were an occupational hazard. Athlete's foot for cops.
You dropped these. Are you okay to proceed? Good.
The Ledger of Failure and Hatred is a special item that can be used both as an interactable and a tool equipped in your held slot for skill bonuses. Find it under the Tools tab in your inventory.
Have you no shame? Whining about your back every time you bring out the measuring tape.
René, you're a man with a fork in a world of soup. Please, let's just try to enjoy the game, alright?
I'm trying to, but you keep breaking my concentration. You're old. I can see that. We're both old. Now stop grabbing your ass like it's a girl.
These manly men are playing balls. This is a ball game. Grab a ball and play it. Don't ask questions. Shoot first. Ask questions never. No, you got this. There's the ball. You're the game. You are immediately surprised by the ball's lack of weight. No matter, you'll make it work. The cold metal ball is surprisingly smooth against your neck. It has a pattern on it, probably a sponsored ball. Yours would only be covered with bumps of learning and scars of victory. Already your muscles are adjusting to the weight, the nervous system calibrating, until you and the ball have merged into a single entity. The man ball is ready. A chilly breeze ruffles your hair as you stand there, feet firmly planted. All sounds, smells, even the wind, everything fades until the only thing left is the union of man and ball. An embodiment of pure motion, a fine-tuned locomotor running at maximum efficiency.
Merde! Bordel de merde!
A whorehouse of shit? It wasn't whorehouse of shit. The shot was at least 23 meters, probably 24, and then some. Nothing to be embarrassed about.
What the hell is your problem? I don't care if you are a cop. You do not just ruin someone's game. It's so goddamn disrespectful. You vandalized our game, son. We can't play pétanque with 5 bull. No, you don't. Our pétanque game is ruined. We want our bull back.
Take it easy, René. This is just a misunderstanding, isn't it, officer? No harm done.
Of course there's harm done, you orange slug. You owe us a goddamn bull. Will this... No, it will goddamn not.
Thank you, officer. This is really something. Honestly, I think it's better than our old bull, even.
Mon Dieu. Alright, fine. What do you want, officer?
Yes, why did you come here? It's unlikely they know anything about the murder.
Unfortunately, I don't. Unlike most of the locals, I have no qualms about assisting law enforcement, but this affair has passed me by completely. In Martinez, the union is the law, so can you really blame them? Cop is a pejorative term. I don't have a problem with policemen. On the contrary, I admire the effort to bring order to our streets.
He doesn't know about the crime. Your time is better spent discussing politics.
I'm confident they are indispensable in regard to all the paperwork and other administrative duties. But you must agree that nature, in her infinite wisdom, has made men more fit to perform certain, more challenging tasks. Don't you, officer? Really, officer. Match an average woman against an average man in a dark alley and see who comes out on top. Gender equality is a very noble, very modern idea. But in real life, primal roles prevail. But I do not wish to discuss this matter further. Yes, the terrain here provides an interesting variety to a familiar game. No, it was left by heavy artillery fire. Why what? Because that's what happens when communards hijack your country, execute your supreme leadership, and turn your capital into a slaughterhouse. You use heavy ordnance to clean up your home. Commies, communists, socialists, anarchists, call them what you like. They just chose the name to feel special. Senseless sentimentality. Sadly, no. It was the foreigners who brought them to their knees. We fought valiantly. Too valiantly. So valiantly we got licked. Should have fought dirty, like they did with their suicide sex cult propaganda and mad anarchist women strapped to shrapnel bombs. We didn't though, and we lacked caliber. God bless him, but the suzerain's cannons simply weren't big enough.
It was probably a bit more complicated than that.
Because this place is a damn beachhead. Had to soften the commies up first. Yes, the military coordinated amphibious landing to take back Revachol. Martinez was used as one of the 3 footholds in Revachol during Operation Deathblow in 08. The other 2 are off in Stella Maris and the Delta. This here is Blood Ground, where Coalition boots first made landfall and cleaned those rabid dogs out. Most likely, we're playing pétanque on their mangled corpses.
Blood ground. You got old René going there. Like he isn't hungry enough already.
Damn right, son. They laid the fire of hell on this city before they stormed it. And it worked, too. The rest of the city got cleaned up, but Martinez they keep as a monument. And now the Union Socialists are practically running the place.
Well, it's your own damn fault. You, we, the coalition, Revachol, whoever you want to blame, never finished the job. Officially, the party never surrendered. Of course they still hold influence.
You don't even begin to truly understand the players on the table, let alone the specific circumstances surrounding the... What do you think?
Thinking men have opinions on these things. Present one.
They're not. And I'm sorry it had to be them. After 8 years of fighting those hyenas, boiling cats for food and drinking piss in the mountains, I would have preferred if the Right Honorable King Guillaume returned through Revachol, or even if that damn clan Frissel had risen from the grave and led us. Sadly, that was not the case. Instead, all that is just, holy, and beautiful in the world was wiped away, and now it's neon signs with toothpaste ads everywhere. Foreign influence peddling garbage and stupid music on the radio. This is just what the commies wanted. This was their plan all along. This is what they wanted to replace the role of the suzerain with. Damn Frissel. He was the king we couldn't protect. The Carabineers failed him, and the crown. He died in the hands of the Hyperlay, in a very public execution.
He slouches as he says that. It makes him smaller, admitting they left the king to the mob.
A true king in both blood and mind led Revachol before Frissel. He would have been better, but the damn commies drove him into exile.
Some manner of self-deceit is present in his thinking. Sounds like this Guillaume abandoned him, and he doesn't want to admit it.
The suzerain is the king! Has everyone forgotten already? They've forgotten already. It's no use talking to you. You were still in Daddy's balls when it happened. When we took our last stand against the filth and rode the cavalry straight into gunfire. It's a Bell McGrave, 4.46 caliber, breech loading, Revachol made. Good weapon, accurate and reliable.
His moves are quick and precise as he first checks the weapon, then aims it at the sea. This man knows firearms intimately.
This one's inoperable. The bolt spring is missing and the mechanism is jammed shut. Still a beauty. Where did you find her? I'm not surprised. There are probably lots of forgotten wartime weapons lying around here. Back in the day, everyone had something stashed away. As for the rifle, I don't know what else to tell you. These BM-446s are an antique. No one uses them anymore. The ammunition is impossible to find. Ah, yes! King Philip III, on his steed. A reminder of what Revachol once was.
Oh, absolutely. At the mercy of a cocaine-snorting tyrant who emptied the treasury so he could sleep on a bed of gold.
A superpower, feared and respected. A testament to what this country can be under the leadership of a true king. Someone who knows how to rule. Decisively, without fear of offending the sensibilities of the frail and weak-minded among his subjects. This is something the insurgents never understood. A nation is only as strong as its leader. That's why it was such madness to try to...
Don't get started on that again. What happened, happened.
The Carabineer doesn't reply, but his entire being communicates unbreakable resolve. No one and nothing can change this man's mind. He is as rigid as they come, still in that antique uniform. It's a symbol for him.
Oh, old Philip was a big fan of the purple nose candy the nobility loved so much. A cocaine connoisseur of sorts. His egocentricity is borderline legendary.
You can't even take the responsibility for yourself. How could you fathom the responsibility weighing on the shoulders of a ruler? That's why the Philippian kings use cocaine, for clarity of vision, to aid in their work. Regnum cocainum, Revachol's finest years.
Of course, clarity of vision, awareness.
Philip III was even brought into this world with the help of cocaine. The court medic administered a dose to his mother when she was in labor, and it is well known that with the help of cocaine, only the purest, of course, he was able to connect with higher realms.
Higher realms. Of course, it all makes sense. He's just making excuses for the king's habits, isn't he?
It's really not. Please, do spare us the cocaine fairy tales.
Yes, indeed. We're not here to investigate the drug trade of centuries past.
Oh, old Philip was a big fan.
You can't, that's why.
Of course.
Philippe Zito.
Higher realms. He's just making excuses for the king's habits, isn't he?
From what I've seen of the officers of the RCM... But I don't want to get into a debate about drug policies. Right.
All you observe is a veteran refusing to let go of the past and his old uniform. This is not uncommon.
This is the uniform of the Royal Carabineers in service of Frissel I, Guillaume le Lion, and the valiant King Philip V before him.
Don't you mean Frissel the fan?
You do not speak his name, Craven, although he was a clown. But he was our clown, ours to ridicule and to mourn.
There's something you missed. You will get to it, don't worry.
I have really outdone myself. This is divine.
Yes, that's what you need, Gaston. More padding on that fat arse of yours. I hope your heart gives out.
René, it's a little pleasures. Life doesn't need to be a struggle. Hello, officer. How might I be of assistance on this fine day? Let me think. I heard someone was hanged and left on a tree for a week. But that's all I know, really. No, officers, I'm sorry. And I really would like to assist. You are both good guys. I can see that.
Then help them, you wimp. You have plenty of shoulder with the gauche caviar in the Union. Someone must know something.
He means caviar socialists.
I wish I could, but I just don't know anything. I always keep my nose clean and don't gossip. Everyone knows and respects that.
Odd. He doesn't seem to be lying, but there's something off here.
I'm not even anyone.
Of course he's holding back. His mouth is so full of Union prick he can't even speak properly.
Can I at least finish my fucking sentence before you piss on it? Is that okay, René? I'm not anyone important in the Union. I just know Evrard. Everyone in Martinez knows the Clare brothers. I taught these boys human studies and history in the gymnasium.
What do you know about history? You never witnessed history. Only heard about it years later, when it had already moved on. You don't know history.
The old soldier mumbles something under his breath and turns to face the sea. There he stands, proud, rigid and alone, like a cracking marble statue.
Let's try not to get caught in a crossfire.
Oh, in many ways, yes. Like an honorary member. I attend meetings and parties, help with little things. Evrard, Edgar, and the older debarders all know me. Oh yes. Not in the technical sense. I don't have a vote or a membership card, but Evrard keeps me on the payroll, just for the little things.
So that's what it was before. Him hiding something. He tries to make it look like he's a big deal in the Union, and now the illusion is disintegrating before your and René's eyes. He doesn't know anything, because no one tells him anything. He's an outsider.
Of course he's not a member. He's not a member of anything. I knew that. He's a Vezavane. turns the way the wind blows and tries to look important. I hate the socialist rabble, but even siding with them is better than living your entire life on the fence, never committing to anything. Pick a damn side already.
Writing work mostly. Occasionally, he needs something written, and I happen to have a way with words, people say. Oh, nothing official, I assure you. Just essays for the newspapers. About Martinez and how things are and how they could be. Everhart and I have these long talks where...
Well, he tells his little pen man exactly what to say. It's commie propaganda, plain and simple. You should be ashamed of yourself.
I don't even consider myself a regular socialist. Politics is not really something I involve myself in, officer. I believe everyone has the right to think and do whatever they want, even if it's nothing at all. I'm very adaptable.
Mon Dieu.
No, thank you. For being consummate professionals, you'll have this case wrapped up in no time. I'm sorry, officer, but I really don't share food. Nothing personal, it's just a principle.
The only one you have.
The sandwich looks like a culinary wonder, well made and abundant in components. The author sure knew their craft. In addition to the obvious slice of ham, a fat one, you notice a brim of a tomato peeking from below. And is that mayonnaise?
Oh, that's good. That's very good. You must have other business then?
A man so principled about his sandwich calls for a principled approach. Time to get political. This right here is political. Say one of these fascist or communist things or fuck off. Whoa, easy there, Goldmouth. He doesn't have to say anything. Re-engage cop mode and bail out, if you like.
All right. Let's hear them, officer.
Hi, Ace Detective. Are you here for more books? Hi, Ace Detective. Are you here for more books?
Because you know each other. She's been talking to you so openly because you've talked before.
Yes, I used to stand out there all the time before Mother told me to focus on my homework. You've been running around all week without your shirt on, sir, apologising to everyone. I don't really understand what you've done wrong. Of course, you stopped by a few times. You certainly look better than the last time I saw you. No, you don't have party eyes anymore.
Party eyes. Yes, of course. That makes sense.
You know, like a cat in the dark, all big and wide-eyed. It certainly looks odd on a man.
The swiveling eyes of a loony drug addict. That is what she meant. You were probably gurning too. Good thing she didn't say party eyes loud. Her mother's nearby. Fuck yeah. You should get some party eyes right now. Snap those sequins on you, boy. Oh baby, That's not what you have to worry about. Worry about the important thing.
I didn't know I had to do that. I'm glad I could help you, sir.
Yes?
Only banal things strike you. At the core, you're a very banal person with a very small soul, one you should be ashamed of. It's no wonder the soft one doesn't want it back. It was right to abandon you. The tear machine stands. Your bottles clunk into the...
Still here, stuck in this damn jam, my man. What's up?
Ease into it. Don't go too far. This seems like a personal matter.
I'm okay, man. Just... the jam's got me down. The fumes, the chemical rainbows, the tarpaulin stretched on the frames and the dull engines off.
Maybe the full-on, direct approach wasn't correct. Damn, it's tricky business looking into someone's eyes and not doing it wrong. An old monument stands in the middle of the traffic island, pointing towards it. Even by the standards of the Philippian kings, old sumptuous Philip was known for his profligacy. Well, he blew through the whole national treasury, starting the decline of one of the penultimate century's greatest superpowers, the suzerain of Revachol. His own maladministration foreshadowed the fall of the monarchy during the anti-centennial revolution, an end to his family line and the monarchy on the Insulindian Isola. Stories have it that he had his bedroom converted into a treasure chamber, where he stored unfathomable wealth, Krugerrands, bars of gold, ornate weaponry, armor, and various chalices. He called it the Sol Aurum. It was obscene. There were whispers he slept on a huge pile of gold-dipped feathers, like some obese dragon, instead of a bed, like a normal person. But wait, you haven't even heard about his fabled cocaine addiction. You see, old Philippe wasn't just good at squandering the national treasury on gold and ceremonial weaponry, he was also a prodigious snorter of nose candy. That's what the revolutionaries said 150 years later, right before they emptied out the royal mausoleum and dumped His Majesty's mortal remains in the Insulindian Bay. Beneath the cold waters of the Insulindian Bay, thrown there by the revolutionaries after they cleaned out the royal mausoleum. The original was blown apart by communards, then further damaged during the landing of the coalition's airships during the turn-of-the-century revolution, when Martinez was leveled. Most historians think the Coalition's hasty landing may have ultimately saved the statue. If the communards had more time, they would have reduced it up to even finer pieces. Some years ago, a group of liberal, artistically inclined individuals, designers mostly, thought it would be ironic to restore the statue of the most wasteful ruler of Revachol in the poorest part of the city. The statue is supposed to capture the moment it was blown apart, like an instant frozen in time, a rare butterfly trapped in amber, floating on a sea of shit. People in Martinaise tend to disagree, as do many prominent art critics and thought leaders with more nuanced social awareness than the young ironists. Philip III, the squanderer, however, with his bronze face up in the air, doesn't seem concerned about what the hoi polloi think of him in death. Not that he ever did in life either.
Hello, dear. I didn't notice you at first. Oh my. What happened to the water lock? Oh, sweetie, if it weren't for you, I'd be looking forward to another sleepless night. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you both.
You're welcome, ma'am.
I hate to ask, but if your investigation takes you to the other side of the coast, please do keep an eye out for my husband.
The quest for knowledge is never over.
And if you see him, let him know Lena is waiting for him here at the Whirling. He gets so tangled up in his work that he may not know the water lock's been repaired, and it's cold out there. Oh, you're such a dear. Thank you, sweetie.
There's really no point in manipulating anyone. She'd be only too pleased to tell you about her work. Go on and ask.
Oh, I'd be delighted. Truth be told, I could really use the company too.
One cryptid, not a couple. One. This won't turn into some kind of cryptid extravaganza. And I don't. Just one.
Ooh, tough choice there.
The Gnome of Jeroma. Oh, yes. None of its victims survived. Grieving relatives never even found their bodies because the gnome's venom dissolved organic tissue. It was reportedly a small creature with webbed fingers and a protruding forehead and an ungainly little thing. Quite scary to look at. A couple of campers found it when it was already dying. They heard an odd wailing in the woods and followed the sound. They were scared and wrapped it in tarpaulin to suffocate it. It still took the Gnome of Jeroma an entire day to die.
If the body of the creature was found, why aren't there detailed illustrations of it in science textbooks, confirming the existence of this very little species?
Alas, the first scientist who got his hands on the creature's corpse put it in a jar of formaldehyde, thinking that would detoxify the gnome's venom. Instead, all the venom leaked out of the creature's teeth and into the surrounding liquid, dissolving the creature itself. A poetic end, perhaps, but a real loss for science.
Alas, always alas, and then it was gone. Isn't that overly convenient?
I understand your skepticism, but that's what happens with things that are rare and stand out. Their disappearance is most memorable, and they are least likely to be found again. Of course, dear.
The rotting man lie. The lieutenant adjusts his glasses and takes a deep breath.
I'm gone. I'm a joke. Look at me. There is nothing funny about jokes either. A killer, a motherfucker, and a killer. Go ahead, Cobbo. Into the wild pale yonder. In the past, way out in the west. What do you mean? It's the power of your imagination. Go ahead. Ask me more questions. You fucking love questions. Because you're a copperoonie. Look at all of them go. Do you want more questions? Here you go, you loony. Fuck no. You're no Rooney. Between you and me, your name is probably Harry. You might be onto something there. Because you have. Do I remind you of someone?
A child born with Muller's disease, harlequinism, grown up miraculously.
You sure wriggled out of that one, Coppellini? Come back later, Corpo. Amuse yourself with my frank manners and my memento mori features. If possible, also, see me in your dreams. Shoot, Looney Rooney. Come back later, Corpo. Amuse yourself with my frank manners and my...
Wow, a very large red t-shirt with an impressive print stands out from the other garb. Oh yeah, the print depicts a muscled man striding toward you, a giant sword in each hand, encircled by burning embers. Behind him is a cluster of cabins engulfed in flames. Beneath him are the words, Hjelmdal burning.
Hell yeah, man. I don't usually carry printed tees, but this one was just pure exemplar. A fan? No, I wouldn't go that far. But I do think the Hjelmdalaman saga is an integral part of our shared reality. Most people don't think that the man from Hjelmdal really existed, but they're wrong. I mean, even if the man from Hjelmdal didn't exist before the adventure novels, the stories have made it so that he has. It's simple, really.
Okay.
You sound skeptical. It's not that complicated. All that's required is a more robust understanding of cause and effect. Besides, I've been to Kotla, though not quite as far north as the Hjelmdal, and watched northern lights travel across the sky. Very unique, energetic tides there.
It's for the best, because Hjelmdal is not a real place, and thus he could not have gone there. His theory isn't exactly incoherent, but its logic does suggest some unusual neural activity. Interesting. Very, very unique energies indeed. Geomagnetic ley lines, one might even say. Smells like worn cotton and a little old sweat there. Worn cotton with a side of flea market or trash bin.
Sniffing is okay, but please don't try anything on. Can't have you leaving your photon emissions in the fabric of things you're not going to buy.
You're not imagining it. Photon emissions? What is he talking about?
2 real.
That's dirt cheap.
But why? I deal in goods, not services. Hello again. How can I help you?
Feeling warm and enthralled by the movement of light, while the mind continues to race forward. Lucky bastard. He's probably on Perolidon. It's tough to come by on the street. A drug developed by the military to treat and prevent radiation sickness. It has psychedelic side effects, and it makes your eyes turn yellow.
I try to keep the shop at a comfortable temperature. I've had to take it, you know, since the People's Pile cleanup. I was with the Emergency Relief Brigade.
He's taken it for mental and emotional, not physical pain these days.
There's a reason why everyone's tried to forget any of it ever happened, and why no one has tried to repair or replace the pile. So much disappointment and early deaths. Cancer mostly. And we knew all that was coming even as we were cleaning up as best we could. No one's. Everyone's.
So much bitterness.
A bunch of poor people built themselves a primitive nuclear reactor, hoping for the best. What do you think is going to happen? The cleanup happened 15 years ago. I was young then. Later, my second aunt died. Left me this shack and all the assorted junk in it. So I came to Martinez. People told me don't go there. It's a shithole. I said, people, we just had a nuclear pile meltdown. I'm gonna get as far away from Forburg as I can. Still in the same city, but... a bad idea. Some poor leftist built a particle decay generator in hopes of bringing affordable electricity to underserved communities. It malfunctioned. Radioactive waste everywhere. Probably some of it in you too.
The People's Pile was a Type U particle decay generator that failed immediately after entering service, releasing radioactive waste into River Esperance. A primitive nuclear reactor, also called a pile. Construction began during the Commune of Revachol. The people continued work on it after the Commune fell. They wanted a cheap source of energy for Revachol West. Needless to say, things didn't work out. An emergency valve defect resulted in steam pressure blowing the turbine, taking the fuel containment vessel up in the explosion. Both the faulty design and lack of finances contributed to the catastrophe.
We were an all-volunteer force, self-organized, tried to help the fire brigades contain the spill.
On the patch, gamma radiation lines crossed with a red drop of blood.
I lived by the river since I was a small boy. The Esperance. Didn't have the art to let it all go to shit without trying to do something to help out. There wasn't much the volunteer force could do, however. We wasted years in the river mud. Years getting sick. I like the theory more than the story. Outward movement, not vortices.
Yeah, you gotta get in on those vortices, my man.
You said you'd done it before, yeah?
The lieutenant steps away, pretending to admire some of the knickknacks on display. Looks like he doesn't want to get involved. He won't be your knock, but he won't be thrilled about this either.
Here you go, man.
Yes, darling. That's the coalition government ordained Parolidon. Straight into your gut.
I respect your decision, officer. What else can I help you with? Traffic? I'm sorry, officer, but I don't drive. I just don't like it very much. Movement on the road never really gelled well with the movement of my thoughts. Now that I think about it, I do remember hearing a thunderous noise the other night. Some kind of powerful electric vortex hitting the shop, and then moving on.
That sure narrows down our list of suspects.
He shakes his head, slowly.
I doubt it, but I can try and answer any questions you may have. I do my best to keep my distance from all manner of butchery. Bad for business, bad for everyone.
He doesn't know anything.
Can't say I'm a huge admirer of wild pines, and I can't say I trust any silver-tongued spokesperson of theirs. Fortunately, I have no reason to get involved. What should I have for it? No, just people like that make everyone else see the world somewhat askew. at an angle that is convenient for them. Now, you have more questions, or are we? He's been by the shop a couple of times.
There was something awfully deliberate about that laziness.
He tried. Wanted to come to some mutually beneficial agreement around my dealings with the dock workers. I politely declined to hear him out.
So you don't know what kind of arrangements he was talking about?
As I said, I refused to talk to him. That's why he came back a second time. That's also why he hasn't come back a third. He purchased a remarkably garish paperweight the first time he was here. Nothing the second. They weren't the most pleasant interactions. Small-town bigwigs always want everyone to play a part in the play they're staging. But I bowed out at some point. I prefer to watch from afar while the bigwigs come and go.
He nods reluctantly. The pawnbroker's gaze is already fixed on the dancing colors.
Someone else came here earlier today asking the same question. I promptly sold her the gun you pawned a couple days back.
This is a pawn shop, and it did feel as if you've met before. Oh God. The lieutenant shifts from one foot to another, alert.
She didn't seem like a policeman, although she kept referring to herself as a pig, which was odd. I found her interest in the gun a bit obsessive, but I was just happy to get rid of it, and of her. Truth be told, she was terrifying.
Right, so let me get this right. You sold your sidearm, issued by the citizens' militia, and now a civilian is running around the streets of Martinez with it? In that case, she'll be happy to get a visit from us, if we can find her.
My apologies, officer, but I have no idea where she was coming from or where she went.
A needle in a haystack. There is nothing you can do about it now. You'll just have to hope you luck upon her somehow.
Of course. Sure thing. You were adamant about getting rid of it, officer. Said you were undeserving of a service weapon of the Revachol Citizens Militia. And I don't like keeping guns around the shop for long. Off-the-charts photon emissions. The unhealthy kind. Sure, man.
As you turn, a bright light catches your eye, making you squint. So cool. From a distant sunset, a stage light, flash photography, nowhere in particular. It's just what superstar law officers do. They squint at lights, and they solve shit. Yeah, you have. You're a big dick cop, Dick Mullen. Salam Rocky Baye, badass on-the-edge disco cop. Time to recede into a ludicrous fantasy world. Here we go. Camera. Lights. With a sudden flash, the world freezes around you, and you along with it. In an iconic monochrome solution, a black silhouette against a rasterized orange world. It's on. typical Martinez streetlight sits among assorted floor and table lamps. The light pole has been carefully cut, and the wiring has been redone and attached to a standard indoor plug. The light buzzes faintly, but persistently. This would make quite a statement in your living room.
Yes, officer. As you see, it's in perfect working order.
His manner is casual, but his speech is careful, measured. He wants you to know that he has nothing to hide.
It was brought to me to be altered.
We are not here to investigate the theft of city property. You have to admit it's rather clever what he's done with it.
700 real. A bargain, I dare say. The light has undergone 3 transformations, and every transformation, large or small, has a price tag. Well, there are the cost of removal and rewiring. The most important transformation is the light's placement among ordinary indoor fixtures, which has adjusted its morphological field. The light became suitable for use inside the home just a few days ago.
Okay, that checks out. The boomboxes on the shelf look well-loved and well-traveled. Chipped, dented, they stare at you with the unblinking eyes of their tape reels. One especially catches your eye. Deep gold and amber plastic with a big old handle on top. A classic boombox that says, Stereo 8 approved. This is you. Golden orange. A sunset suite. Just make sure it works before you buy it.
Is the Harman Welsh W2, made in Vespa, designed in Seoul, plays all reel-to-reel formats, 2mm, 8mm, 12mm. It's even got a little radio in there. It'll set you back 12 real. Absolutely. I've tested each one myself with recordings of speech, found sounds and music from a variety of genres, even though I don't really like music. If police work means playing tapes, sure, you can use it for that, or any other time you'd need to play a tape.
You see rows of toy soldiers guarding the rest of the trinkets displayed on the table. Some on horseback, others in rags, others yet in bright blue uniforms. All are stern and unyielding in their duty. Try to find something pretty and cool here, then use it to win her back. Yes, buy something nice, a figurine. Big men on big horses, clad in lamella armor and carrying flintlocks, the kind that would mow down a line of enemy soldiers in the blink of an eye.
I used to be very serious about my Franco-Nigerian knights.
They're not all blue. These figurines also wear gold coats and caps, complemented by orange trousers. They are variously posed, wielding swords and rifles with bayonets.
This is what the loyalists looked like, yes, at first. Then they wised up and got camouflage.
Which ones? Ah, those. Yes, they are. I find the paint job a bit gaudy, but children like the bright colours indiscriminately.
This set of soldiers isn't meant to look impressive. A few have rifles, but most of them carry pistols. Some even shovels and tall sticks.
You're probably talking about the revolutionaries, yes? Yes, they are soldiers, revolutionary soldiers. I think their poverty has been exaggerated for effect. When you place them next to the royalists, it doesn't seem like they could possibly win. Maybe.
Everything you pick out seems faded, chipped, and sad somehow. Most of them are just broken toys.
Yes?
Does Kuno care? So? Yeah, so? Kuno did sick the pigs on him. Kuno's a man of his word.
Kuno sent your fat ass running around like jello.
Look, pig. Kuno sent you to rough some people up. Kuno played you. That happened. Now you and Kuno should move on. What is this? Trying to be cool with your new asshole? Kuno was just being nice to you. You got fucked bad. Now limp the fuck out of here. After this shit, you better have something real interesting to say if you want to stay in Kuno's face.
Yeah, real interesting.
He's on your crime scene, bossing you around. And he's been here for some time too. This is where he hangs out. You have to get more out of him. He could be useful.
No! You told him about it and now he knows you're lame.
The city's not fucking lame. You are lame. Kuno's tired of defending Rage City from... And fuck you too, putting Kuno on the spot like that. Kuno doesn't need to fucking explain his shit. Kuno's king. He rules here. Fuck did you want?
Explain himself? As if explaining some kind of work? Some kind of avant-garde work way ahead of its time? You must get to the bottom of this one of these days. Sadly, it's unlikely to happen today.
Kuno doesn't fucking care.
I'll die before I squeal, pig. Stay away from me, pig! You don't want to see what happens when you corner me. I'll die before I squeal, pig. I come from the woods, Guttavittu. You don't want to go there with me. You don't want to see what I've seen.
Don't be traumatizing here. Get the fuck out of here.
Let me handle this. Detective disorientated. Are you still wondering where you are? This is Martinez, in case you've forgotten. I advise you not to overstay your welcome.
Her entire character has shifted. This young woman is cold as ice.
That's right. I am not a gardener. I'm a legal counselor for the Dock Workers Union. So let's get to it. You're looking for Titus Hardy? You think he has information that will help you? Maybe he does. That's Titus. Talk to him. But know this. I'll be keeping an eye on you. No strong arming. Nothing official. The District of Martinez does not recognize your authority to make arrests.
It doesn't matter if you recognize our authority. We will make an arrest, if we have to.
She says nothing. Her glare speaks for her.
Like I already told you, I'm a legal counselor. Do you have hearing problems? What you want is of no significance, officer. Don't test your authority. In Martinez, you are no one. What are we going to do to you? The union isn't going to do anything to you. It is not a crime syndicate. It is a labor organization.
Goddamn right it is.
If anything, it is the RCM who do things to people. But we digress. Aggressive? You make your living enforcing violence. These people are just dock workers.
Just dock workers? Do dock workers spy on the police? We let you off easy, miss. Don't think it will happen again.
Listen, you moral intern lackeys. You're a mob, enforcing the unlawful privatization of Revachol. 20 fat men in the Occident are stealing it all, and you're their bodyguards.
Fuck yeah.
So ask what you came to ask, or get back to your commanders. No one is emotional here. Do your job. Ask your questions, then leave.
This is where you say your bit.
Detective.
Hey, dipshit. You hard of hearing or something? The boss man's talking to you.
Do not let their squeals disturb your serenity. These are but simple peasants, sire.
What, is he fucking kidding? This guy high or something?
Hey, asshole, up here. We're talking to you.
We're looking for Titus Hardy.
Oh, this is about him. A real looker, that won't.
You sure took your time, huh? Waited for him to get real ripe and pretty for you.
Oh, he was a real pretty boy. Hanging up there, letting out that pretty boy smell.
I can't for the life of me understand why you did it. I mean, I would have just left him up there. You must really like cleaning up other people's shit.
You might want to start asking your questions now. It's not going to get better than this.
Do a head count first. Connect these men to the tracks you saw in the yard. Chances are they're going to match. Starting from the right, boot size 44, blonde man, in his 30s, overbearingly masculine. Sitting on his right, standard working boots, size 45 or 46, eldest in the room, probably mid-50s, smoker, quiet. Across at the other table, hobnailed working boots, size 43, gang tattoos, Mesk or Sarah Mauritian, in his late 30s, early 40s. He spent his youth in Villa Labos, a housing project in the Jamrock Quarter. There were incarcerations, hard to say what else. The ink is fading. And then, standard working boot, steel reinforced toes, size 46, the big dick, wide at the shoulders and lean at the hips, rugby cap, fingerless gloves, and numerous scars, a little under 40. The emblem on his vest says Rowing Club. A little patch below it reads T. Hardy, Captain. In the far corner, standard working boot, steel reinforced toes, size 44, 40-something, non-alcoholic beverage in hand. You squint. Is that a plectrum? On his neck. Forget it. It's not important. Let's call this one the musician. Size 41, with the light step. Not a child, after all. An older man with a rat face, mean, watery eyes, and 2 front teeth missing. In the middle, heaving and wheezing. Big guy, boot size 46, deep marks. Probably carried the victim over. He alone is 130 kilos. Add the man in armor, and you could easily exceed 220. In conclusion, these 7 are the actors on the crime scene. The footprints were theirs, but there's a discrepancy. Exactly. You've stood there for about 4 seconds, not saying anything. Hit them with questions. Where's the 8th Hardy?
The fuck is with you, fella? What are you talking about, madman? There's no 8th Hardy boy. There's 7 of us and we're all here. Or what? You want to be the 8th Hardy boy? We ain't hiring.
Actually, boss, we've been talking and we think she could maybe...
She? So there's an 8th Hardy and it's a Hardy girl? Who might it be? Elizabeth? The gardener?
Shut the fuck up, Glenn! I do the talking here. Now what the fuck do you want, cop?
So let me get this straight. There is an 8th Hardy boy. It's a she, and you don't like us talking about her?
That's right. We're not talking about this. This is a private Hardy Boys matter. Nothing to do with your shit. And you're not cops here. Don't go digging around if you don't want a bullet in the back of your head. I'm watching you.
Good. We are all watching each other. Officer, your question.
The pretty boy. You guys really love talking about that pretty boy.
Funny. But my partner and I have a serious matter to discuss with you.
You mean these boots?
We all got a pair. We wore them the night we took the pretty boy out back and hung him by the neck.
Yeah, we did this. Together. All of us. Until he was dead. That's why our prints are all over the scene.
There's a catch hidden somewhere. He didn't confess so that you could take them all away. It's too simple.
There is no catch. These 7 honest men have all equally come forth to tell you what happened, so that you don't waste any more of your time.
All 7 together. They're diluting responsibility. It's an anti-arrest tactic.
How many people have you sent to the Shays? Ever felt remorse?
Chaise électrique is the method of capital punishment in Revachol under the Coalition. During the suzerain's reign, it used to be the firing squad.
Or send them to Reunion to rot. For 20 years. For life.
The River Esperance Correctional Facility, a military prison run by the Coalition, dubbed Reunion by the inmates. The origin of the name is unknown.
Oh, so you are just a simple, well-meaning man, eh? Ever been in solitary? Prison is a charter. That's what it is.
So is hanging a man, slowly, without breaking his neck.
Are you deaf? There will be no singling anyone out. You can't arrest a hardy boy without arresting all hardy boys. Do you think you could do that? Do you think you could arrest them all?
A trick question. Don't let her lead the conversation.
Who do you fucking think does?
That's right, asshole. Titus Hardy runs the Hardy Boys. Ain't that so, fellas?
I think you got your answer, Mr. Law.
No, you did not get an answer. Titus does administrative work. He pushes paper, fills out forms, the others can't read. But on that night, they all acted as one man. You don't have to keep answering his questions.
I know, Lizzie. Relax. We killed him last Sunday night. Seemed like a good way to end the week.
Known him? We don't associate with scum like that, asshole.
Yeah! Who do you think we are?
Quiet. He came around about 3 weeks ago when that Pines cow first sailed into town. Happy?
By the Pines cow, you mean the representative for Wild Pines? The shipping company you are striking against?
No. I mean the Pines cow. The stupid-ass cow they sent in to fuck us over. But you know what?
Why don't you ask her about the pretty boy? I'm sure she has interesting things to say when you ask her hard enough.
That's enough insinuation for today, Titus. Officer, your interview is drawing to an end. Don't waste your last questions.
Why? 'Cause he was worthless mercenary scum. And he stepped out alive in my town. And he stepped out of line.
What kind of mercenary?
The kind that shows up when you start a strike. The experienced kind, too. Had Cohoy and Semenine written all over him. Ex-Oranese Special Forces.
A live grenade, right here in our bar.
I can't prove it, but I know he was sent by the Wild Pines. They hire merc shit like that. Story of every strike from here to Samara.
Cause one night, he walked straight up to the mic and said, I'm RNA's goddamn special forces, and I'm gonna fuck you all!
Really?
Yeah, really. Had a gin and tonic up there, sang some RNA's paratrooper song, and said he's gonna fuck everyone.
We couldn't believe it either, but he fucking did, right there. Like some kind of animal.
Sire, the tale is true. This is a serious violation of the karaoke code.
Wrong. He harassed women, raped one, harassed workers, threatened to kill some as a warning.
From rape to harassment to threats of violence. Why the strange de-escalation? He regrets mentioning it. Hopes you didn't notice.
To kill us all, if we don't open the gates, if we don't let the scabs in, if we don't bend over. And that was before he started coming here.
Yeah, he said it was his favorite joint now. Started coming here every night. Drinking, grabbing girls. Grabbed one of ours mid-karaoke, right there on the stage.
He grabbed someone?
Yeah. This girl's on the mic. A beautiful girl, young. Gets into the second verse of Lover Lake. The fucker grabs her legs, starts screaming. Show me your cunt! Why don't you show me your cunt? Then, he gets knocked on the head with a wine bottle. Doesn't even fall down.
Aren't you fucking listening? My man is talking to you. He took care of it. They got the girl out before anything else could happen.
Yeah, me and Eugene got her out. Aren't you fucking listening?
There's something odd here. Seems like they don't want to talk about that rape Titus mentioned. Why not? This is a serious allegation. Make them talk about it.
No. You're not getting the name. That's a Martinez matter. And I'm not discussing it with you clowns.
There's nothing you can do for now. He's stonewalling you.
We hanged him up by his neck until he got real still. Wasn't that obvious, copper?
Didn't they teach you anything at the cop school, idiot?
This is where an autopsy would come in handy. You have to work with what you know.
Titus, you don't have to clarify anything.
We overpowered him, dragged his unconscious body to the tree, put a noose around his neck, and hanged him till he was dead and steady.
Then we left him for seagulls, maggots, and you fucks.
Make them a bit more uncomfortable first, then see if it all adds up.
With numbers, asshole. How do you think? You're right, Lizzie. I've done enough explaining here.
No, he hasn't. Not yet.
Weren't you fucking listening? The fucker came to our bar. It happened right here.
This one has a distinct style. He puts so much whiny emotion into everything he says, it's hard to see if he's lying. But he could be. Titus is solid as a rock, and so are a few others. But Alain, who looks like he might be Titus's right-hand man, the least antsy of the bunch. Definitely not his first time being questioned by the police. This little rat-faced fellow is solid too. Always fidgety, yes, but no change there. Him neither. Mostly keeps to his tomato juice, or whatever he's got there.
No.
Of course he's having trouble breathing. Just
Just look at how fucking fat he is.
Fuck off, Shanky. Angus is a powerful guy. All muscle.
Keep your eye on this powerful guy. Sooner or later, he's going to break like a piece of twig.
And fuck you too, Copper. Picking on Angus like this. We're done with this schoolyard shit. And just so you know, he doesn't have trouble breathing.
This one is a stone wall. You won't get more out of them about the night of the murder. Not yet.
Like what, Copper?
Nothing. Your investigation here is done. Leave Martinez, go back to your stations where you belong.
I think we're going to stick around, thanks. Some things don't add up here, Titus. I've done this job for long enough to know that people don't just confess to first-degree murder. Even if it is a group responsibility, we're going to look into this.
Good luck with that. You've heard everything a rent-a-cop is gonna hear from us, real law officials. You're lucky you didn't get a beating.
Behind the dockworkers, a ceiling-height window. The hawthorn branches scrape the glass like bony fingers. There's a little slide panel up there to let some air in. No need to open it in spring. It's still too cold outside.
I've got nothing to say to you. Why are you wasting your time? I am not.
You could be, Liz. You could be anything. You could even be a model.
Even a mod? Glenn, I went to law school. I am an attorney.
He's right. With a face like that, she could be on the cover of Le Debutante International. The cold look in her eyes speaks louder than words. She is not amused. It's not her. She's not a hardy girl. Definitely. This is a wall on the side of an apartment building.
Are you trying to sneak up on me? Come to slit my throat in my sleep?
Apparently, she doesn't like people standing behind her back. Logic error. She is not sleeping right now.
Pigs come to take me out? Trying to snuff me out? Don't get fucking clever with me, pig. You think you're so clever.
You see a young man on a balcony nursing a cigarette. His eyes have been following you for a while.
Not looking for any trouble, officer.
It's the voice of someone who has something to hide, my liege.
There's no trouble. I'm just speaking in a lowered voice. I don't want to be seen talking to the gendarmerie, if that's okay. I just want to finish my cigarette.
Don't let him go. This could be your witness. The balcony has a great view of the whole thing.
Is it really that important?
Like a nervous cat, he keeps stealing looks at the neighboring windows.
All right, but make it quick. Once I finish this cigarette, I have to run. My name? My name is Martin Martinez.
That's definitely not his real name.
No, of course not. Could you please lower your voice? I can tell that you finally got him down. Thank you. It was quite a disturbing sight, even by Martinez standards.
What were you doing last Sunday?
Oh. You already asked me that, didn't you?
Wait, is someone else investigating the lynching?
No, not you two. Some more muscular type.
And when did you speak to this more muscular gentleman?
Last week? I don't know. Look.
He's an actor declaiming a soliloquy. See how you hang on his every word?
You didn't answer the question. What were you doing last Sunday?
I had a friend over. It was my Sunday friend.
A Sunday friend? How intriguing. He doesn't reply, gesturing no with his cigarette. In the neighboring windows, you can see faint reflections of his silhouette, all from different angles.
No. We won't. Now, if you'll excuse me, I really need to get going.
This isn't the place or time for questions. Who knows who might be watching from the distance, hidden behind the curtains? For a moment, the man on the balcony seems almost vulnerable. Something moves in the depths of his feline eyes, compassion and a hint of understanding.
I am sorry, but I really don't have the information you're looking for.
But, hold on, what's that? For a split second, his hand lingers, as though gesturing towards a stone placed right next to the front door. It's a sign.
Good luck with the investigation.
He's gone. No point in running. Tenements like these often have multiple exits. If he doesn't want to talk to us, then he'll know how to hide himself. He could be a witness. Him or his Sunday friend. Either way, we need to look into that muscular type who's asking about our case. He did leave us a sign. Did you see that? He wanted to draw our attention to that stone right over there. If we find a way inside the building, we can ask around for his apartment.
A stone, like any other, lying in a whirl of sleet and mud. Maybe there's something under it. There's a key beneath it, rusty from the dirt.
This must be for the front door. Pity it doesn't have the apartment number on it. This building has many apartments, and a man can be in any of them. We'll just have to go in and see.
Hey, up here, Piggo.
The streets will flow red once more, a great torrent rushing down Rue de Esperance. You wait and see.
The streets will not flow red with anything. Who are you?
I'm Cindy the fucking Skull. What else do you want to know? Date of birth, blood type, the last time I was tested for Hep C. And here I was trying to be polite. Just can't win with you pigs.
The lieutenant furrows his brow at another one of your eccentricisms. Hatred, disgust, it's difficult to tell which of the two is more present in her girlish features. The woman on the boat does not notice her staring.
That Ozon her. Someone's got to keep an eye on her.
Ozon is an archipelago 2 days' travel away from Revachol. Its moneyed residents, used to posh restaurants and upscale boutiques, rarely have reason to visit Martinez.
Probably the Wild Pines rep. We should talk to her. She's a professional negotiator, though. I have the feeling she will be very cooperative while telling us nothing. You should take the lead. Ask her unexpected questions, you know? Do your thing. Don't be afraid to get a bit wacky. Throwing her off is our best bet.
Good idea, piggies. Run along now. Fuck her shit up good. Impound that boat while you're at it. I'd like to watch her swim back to Ozon. Can't you tell? I'm painting a beautiful mural, an aereo graffitio visible from low orbit. I haven't really started it yet. I'm waiting for the right words. Have you ever tried your hand at graffitio? When faced with a blank wall, most people write unimaginative stuff, like pigs go home and Mona was here. We rarely see pigs round here, though. Just union cats. And my name's not Mona, so... This place is severely lacking in havoc. Not even the occasional trash can fire to break up the tedium. I thought I'd mix it up, you know, summon the forces of crime and social chaos with a wall-sized invitation. Yeah? Thanks. I'm sure the inspiration will come to me now that I have an official RCM stamp of approval.
She means the opposite.
I ain't no snitch, Pigstein. Go forth and forage in someone else's shit. No shortage of squealers in these parts.
Actually, there is a shortage of people who talk to us in a normal, calm, informative manner.
We weren't put on this earth to make your life pleasant, fucko. What do I care about some fucking tin eggshells? Ugh, alright, sad piggy. I'll give you this one. I saw a little girl in the fishing village running around with military-grade handwear. Looked cute as hell. If you haven't been there, the village is a shithole down the coast from the main plaza. Have a good time! No. That's all the snitching Cindy the Skull does for today. Actually, I don't even know why I told you what I just told you. I have a weakness for animals. It's the animal thing again. Damn it.
Or a weakness for police officers, miss. Thank you either way.
Watch your back, Ungulate. You've got eyes on you.
A striking woman leans against the cabin top of her sailing boat, smiling as you approach. Her green raincoat glistens with droplets. A silk scarf is tied around her throat.
Good afternoon, officers. I'm Joyce. Joyce L. Messier. I represent the board of Wild Pines, the owners of the harbour. You gentlemen must be from the RCM. I'm glad to see you here.
Like steel, there is strength there. If she wanted, she could sink her nails deep into your skin.
I was dispatched to handle a strike, not a lynching. Anything I can do to assist the RCM in this matter, I will, gladly.
That is good to hear, madame. My colleague will take the lead on this interview. I should let you know that he is recovering from an unusual medical episode. Very unusual. But I can assure you of his ultimate competency.
There's a trace of irony in his voice. Mischief, even. This is a tactic. It happens quicker than a shooting star. But did the lieutenant just wink at you?
How interesting. I wish you a swift recovery. In the meanwhile, you have my full cooperation, and the full cooperation of the Wild Pines group. Why, yes I am. Of course there are. We're on an archipelago. How else are you supposed to get around? Yes, we are. We are on Le Caillou.
Technically, the neighboring Ozone and Fas a la Mer island groups are archipelagos, while La Caillou, by contrast, is a single fertile landmass, the fourth largest island in the world. It is not an archipelago.
Okay, if you want to get technical, the point is we're all on islands here, and sail is still the most expedient way to get from one island to another, especially when you're in a hurry to resolve a strike. I haven't seen anyone else drive a souped-up Capri Kenema motor carriage either.
Actually, that motor carriage has been specially issued to serve as a patrol and pursuit vehicle. It's for crossing long distances in the greater Revachol industrial harbor. It's not a toy.
Neither is this. A toy, I mean. It's a machine for crossing long distances in the Bay of Revachol, between the city and the islands.
You need to make this lady admit she's only riding around on this boat because she's rich. Before you do, it would be pertinent to ask other questions. Gather more info on this boat of hers.
The boat? No. It is called Cordelati 19 because that's the type of sloop it is. It's a pleasure craft, a 19 pacer. It also happens to be rated for Category 1 racing. Though these days I mainly use it for business. My sloop? I like it a lot. It's the eel's hips, baby.
I'm enjoying this part of the interview. It has so little to do with the murder we're investigating.
Officer, I assure you I'm a highly qualified pleasure craft operator.
The crowns of her teeth are porcelain, white as the boat's hull as she smiles. Her nonchalance might be related to something called the Wayfarer Act, a law that says she doesn't need a license. Sly fox, you're not aggressive enough to harass her further on this.
Oh my, the E word. You mean to say that it's a symbol of conspicuous consumption? That I'm a member of the ruling class?
Detective, may I remind you that Mrs. Messier is a professional negotiator?
Then what does that say? Does it say docking reserved for residents of Rue de Saint-Ghislain, 33A? 33A? This old proletarian haunt here? As I said, plenty of people drive boats, of all social strata.
Your synapses flesh.
Okay, it is anti-centennial. I assure you they drove quite a hard bargain for this space, but you're right. I am a bourgeois woman, and this is my fast, lightweight, interminably bourgeois boat. Good. What we do. I'm afraid I don't speak for Wild Pines as a whole. It's a giant undertaking.
There was a touch of discomfort there. She wants to merely represent.
The Pines' core competency is logistics. Container shipping, freight, that sort of thing. See those airships there, blinking? Those are the shipping side of things. And that is the terminal. Another subdivision deals with energy, oil and gas exploration, offshore platforms.
The Wild Pines Group is one of the original Revacholian Indo-tribes. Companies awarded royal monopolies by the king, the suzerain himself, centuries ago. The king is long gone, but several of the Indo-tribes remain. Saint-Baptiste, LUN, an unknown entity known as Brightest Star.
Why, thank you. I'm not at liberty to discuss the company balance sheet, but I can tell you that last year, the company booked more than 20 billion real in revenue. 20 billion is a large number, but the conglomerate employs 72,000 people. They all need to be paid. Then there are capital improvements, interest payments. A conglomerate the size of the Wild Pines is like a shark. If it stops moving, it will die. Then what becomes of those 72,000 families? It's a tremendous responsibility. They started as an exploration and cargo fleet conducting trade between the Samaran and Insulindian Isolas 250 years ago, when pine ships explored the South Seminese and charted Lomantang on behalf of the suzerain. Centuries of care, deliberation, and madness have gone into this endeavor. Vessels pass through the great unrest to re-emerge with apricots in tow. The logic of the system is totalizing. It's taken everything from its employees to build it. You mean aside from being the terminal's legal owners, who are responsible for moving 8% of the world's cargo? There are no minor cogs in the system. Each terminal must be accounted for, lest the entire system break. Every hiccup in such a system means thousands lose their jobs, the world over. I'm here to assure that doesn't happen.
With your help, hopefully, says her warm tone.
Everything. Right up to, but not including, trade secrets. First, you'd have to repeal the Emergencies Act of Trade in Elements that gives me the right to silence. It's quite the octopus.
The octopus that straddles Revachol, the Emergencies Act, is the cornerstone of post-war Revachol, inseparable from the world it created.
Good luck is only kept in place by the vested interests of half the civilized world, including your own.
What the ma'am means is that the Emergencies Act and the RCM both get their authority from the coalition government.
You'd be shooting yourself in the foot, in other words.
But I am derailing us. You wanted to know about the strike. I believe the official title is Senior Labor Negotiator. In practice, I'm a grocery clerk. I relay the union's demands to Wild Pines and return with Wild Pines' counteroffer.
No way. She's more. She can make decisions.
And how are the talks going?
They're not. That's the problem. The union stopped all negotiations a week ago, after that awful lynching took place.
Wait, she just admitted that the lynching and the strike are connected.
Now they won't even let me into the harbor. There's a 2-meter-20 racist behemoth blocking the gates. What can I say? The union employs a giant covered in tattoos. A racist giant. I guess that's part of their big tent organization now. Yes, I believe there is a connection, but that's a subject for later. Let's say I was not making the kind of progress I'd hoped for when I first arrived.
And when did you first arrive?
I arrived 3 weeks ago. Yes, in the middle of February. The bay was still partially frozen then. I prefer to do these things on site, like the RCM.
But the strike began in December.
I wasn't the original negotiator here. I took over after Mr. Gaumont hit a wall with Mr. Clare, the union boss. Mr. Clare refused to speak with Gaumont despite concessions he'd granted the union in prior negotiations.
This isn't the first time the union has gone on strike?
Heavens no. There have been 2 prior strikes. Both times the union won significant concessions, including overtime pay and a medical plan. This time their demands are more, I guess you could say, aggressive.
Ludicrous even. It's meant.
Mr. Clare told him to... how did he put it? Fuck off, midget. Gaumont is short of stature, you see. Yes. Keep in mind, this is a negotiator Mr. Clare has worked with before, and who was more than fair with him and the union. There are leaflets everywhere, and banners. What did they say again? Oh yes. Every worker, a member of the board.
Most of the workers probably don't know what that means.
Fortunately, they explained it. Every time the Wild Pines group makes a decision about anything, it needs the signature of each of the 2,200 workers in its Martinez terminal. Just so you understand, this is but one of 22 terminals owned by Wild Pines. Essentially, not only are they kings of the company, they are also kings of the 72,000 employees of Wild Pines Group. They're having a blast. But how can they afford it? After 4 months, my assumption was they would prefer a more practical solution. I'm not sure. Naturally, I assumed that was just their opening position, a hard-nosed tactic with a side of mockery. But there's been no follow-up, just the same nonsensical slogan repeated over and over again. And now, people are getting lynched, I hear. Behind the whirling in rags. A disastrous situation if there ever was one.
Excuse me, from whom did you hear about this lynching?
I first heard it from the bowyer at the gates. The one whose very name advertises his aversion to work. I think he said it was, "Call me mañana."
This checks out.
The scabs? You mean the huddled masses of Jamrock, come to plead for work where the union refuses to?
Don't let her answer it herself.
If these strikebreakers were organized by Wild Pines or its affiliates, then it would be a company secret. I could not share it with you. Not yet, at least.
It's implied. She's open to discussing this matter with you at a later occasion.
Everard Clare is a man of the utmost integrity. If you can say one thing about him, it's that he always puts the interests of the workers first. Of course not. Everard is fantastically corrupt. I imagine he has a thick, viscous goo where you and I have blood.
If you were to prick it with something sharp, you could see it oozing out. A knife, maybe? No, a rapier.
Oh, heavens, no. We get along just fine. Yet, now that you mention it, I can't stop imagining that black treacle just dribbling down his double chin. He is the most corrupt individual I have ever seen, and I deal with men like him for a living. If there is anyone more venal, more irredeemably nepotistic, then it's his twin brother, Edgar. Yes, Edgar looks exactly like his brother, except for that lazy eye. He also talks exactly like Everard does, and when one's term as foreman is up, the other takes over. It's how they circumvent the term limits, you see, with a funny little switcheroo. While in office, they've embezzled God knows how much of their workers' dues. The Débardeurs Union was once a perfectly normal institution. 20 years ago, anyway. It must not have been easy to establish under the Emergency Act, but they did it. I can respect that. Organised labour at its best, as they say. Then something happened in the local chapter elections. The brothers Clare came and transformed it into a... how do you say?
A mob. The Débardeurs are a crime syndicate. Sad as it may be, I suspect we'll be forced to cooperate with them.
Refreshingly honest, officer. The company has tried appeasing in the past, but I'm afraid our concessions have only emboldened Everard and his brother. And your opinion, detective, if I may ask? I'm a curious and talkative person, you see. Would you say the Débardeurs Union is... Thank you for being candid. Sadly, Wild Pines have cooperated with what amounts to a crime syndicate for 2 decades. However much you feed the wolf always hungers. I'm glad you asked. There was a woman, the previous forewoman of the Union. She disappeared.
Disappeared?
Yes. On the last day of the local chapter elections, her daughter phoned in and said she wasn't running anymore, or coming to work. Ever. End of story.
This forewoman, her name?
Sadly, the company records do not even give a name. She's just forewoman in private correspondence, Holly. I don't even know if it's a sir or given name, and I don't have access to the Union's files. Downright haunting, if you ask me. The Wild Pines suspected foul play, but what could they do? It was a Union matter. The point of the presentation is, these kinds of things happen around the Clares. Watch out when you're dealing with him.
Thank you for your concern, ma'am. We'll be just fine.
Of course. How else can I help? Quite a few things, I'm afraid. The information I'm to share with you includes sensitive trade secrets. For the sake of my employer, I have to ask for your names and badge numbers.
Of course, ma'am. We should have introduced ourselves. I am Lieutenant Kitsuragi from Precinct 57. And this is my colleague from Precinct 41. I'm afraid he doesn't have his badge at the moment. I hope mine will suffice.
How curious. Why is that, Detective?
'Twas stolen by some artist, surely. Best to pin the blame on them. Everyone knows you can't trust artists. Everyone knows you can't trust artists. They're nearly as bad as clowns.
You mean someone stole your badge? Some Arlequinos, you say? I'm afraid what I need to tell you is anything but fun. I really need to discuss it, however, with the RCM, and I need your badge for that.
Unbelievable, sire. Even the Arlequinos didn't work.
I see. So, are you saying you lost your badge during the course of this episode? Oh dear. Some kind of encephalopathic amnesia. I don't even know how to respond. I do believe you, naive as that may sound. I simply can't imagine what you gain by faking such a condition.
As I said, ma'am, his technique may be very unconventional, but he is an officer of the RCM.
Of course, I sympathize, but I'm afraid I simply can't share anything more until I've seen that badge.
Hang on. She's a professional negotiator. She should be open to some sort of mutually beneficial arrangement. I mean, favors for favors. A dirty alliance of some sort. Consider this. Perhaps she has been planning it all along. That you convince yourself into colluding with her. Easy. Just offer her a favor. Like I said, nice and dirty.
I will be frank with you. If I'm going to break protocol, I need to be able to justify it to my superiors. They're going to want to see something very tangible.
You're in, but expect her to drive a hard bargain.
Reports from inside Terminal B suggest it's a hub for the local drug trade. This is an open secret in Martinez. The Union controls the terminal, so it goes to reason. The company has tried looking into this matter before, to no avail. Perhaps someone with your authority and resources might turn over the right stones. Or you can recover your badge, though if I may be blunt with you, it sounds like that may be a lost cause.
Detective, a word in private before we continue. This is not going quite as I hoped it would, Detective. Honestly, I was expecting you to use your unorthodox technique to keep her off balance, and not volunteer us to be her henchman. This woman is running circles around us. She might have known about your misplaced badge all along, or she's simply an adept improviser. Either way, we've played straight into her hands. Yes. Knowing this does not really change our position, however. No. If there is reasonable suspicion, we must investigate. Otherwise, she could claim we are siding with the Union, or that we are on their take. We'd never hear the end of it. What I propose is, we ask her, then we investigate, briefly. But do not share the outcome of this investigation with her. We tell her it's done, and demand for her information on the lynching. Oh, that would be fantastic, but do we have the time? The world is large, and your badge is 8 by 6 centimeters.
The situation might have changed drastically by the time you locate it. Time is of the essence.
You could request a new one from your station, but that would literally take months.
You're back. Good. What can I help you with? Not an umbrella, I hope. I don't need one myself, you see. Sadly, I need this one myself. It's hydrophobic, repels water, almost magically. The company makes them for offshore platform personnel. Very sturdy. What I can do for you is answer some questions. Nothing like talking to pass a rainy day. It's quite straightforward. Someone is using Terminal B to smuggle raw ingredients from the Samaran Isola into Revachol with the Union's blessing. Wild Pines has suspected it for years.
Ingredients for what, ma'am?
Meth and dextroamphetamine, GBL, and various synthetic psychedelics. Honestly, it might be quicker to say what you can't make from the stuff. Yes, after they clear the terminal, we lose track. The actual production is taking place at various sites in and around Jamrock Quarter, north of here.
Wild Pine seems to be well apprised of the local drug trade, ma'am. Do you mean to say the Union also produces the product? Sells drugs, I mean?
We're in logistics. It's our business to know. And no. As far as the company knows, the Union does not produce it. They transport the ingredients for a cut. Yes, but you won't get anything out of Evrat and the Dockworkers Union. Still, every chain has its weak link.
The handoff. The motor lorries at the roundabout.
Precisely. Someone needs to move the ingredients from the harbour into the city. Once they reach Jamrock, they're distributed to a network of local manufacturers well beyond our grasp. But in transit, they're vulnerable.
How convenient that they're stranded like beached whales at that roundabout.
Perhaps you've noticed that a number of lorries are tangled in a traffic jam at the roundabout just now. Interview the drivers who are still hanging about. One of them might be waiting for a crucial shipment.
Her irises are light green, like the river Esperance in bright daylight, upstream where it's clearer.
I'll be explicit. If you find this driver, I will share company secrets with you. We did. On more than one occasion. Apparently, there's some sort of inter-precinct disagreement about whose jurisdiction this area falls under.
We know the company has launched its own probe into the Union's alleged involvement. We also know it's come up empty. It's not just the RCM. No one's been able to find any hard evidence.
Well, here's your chance, officers. No. We asked East Motor Track to raise the drawbridge. The road company is a partner of one of our subsidiaries. However, this is a limited time opportunity. Once the complaint has been processed by the Trade Committee, they'll have no choice but to lower the drawbridge, and the operation will continue. Thousands of litres of raw ingredients will pour onto the streets of Revachol. Not the east across the river, but the west. The vulnerable, the weary.
Well, at least this solves one mystery.
What is that, Lieutenant?
Why I had to call East Motor Track and beg them to open a drawbridge for me. I'd wondered since I first drove in, on my motor carriage.
I am sorry for the inconvenience, Lieutenant Kisaragi, but we need them trapped here. This is a unique opportunity. I'm sure you understand. How do you think they're financing this strike? There are thousands of unpaid dock workers going strong for the 4th month straight.
There was a shakedown of local businesses preceding the strike. Many were squeezed to bankruptcy to fund it.
With all due respect to these desert cacti, the contents of a few cash registers cannot provide for 2,000 men. The local businesses can scarcely provide for themselves. Precisely. Smuggled out of that very gate at night, most likely, then loaded onto lorries and driven to Jamrock. You simply need to find one driver who will open up to you. The two might even be connected.
Or not. Though, if you have evidence to the contrary, I'm eager to hear it.
As eager as I am to share it, Lieutenant, once the job is done. Yes? Excellent. According to my reports, there are at least 3 lorry drivers lingering near the roundabout. Hopefully one of them will know something. It may come to nothing, or it may just blow the case wide open. I can keep the drawbridge up for a few more days at least. You should have the time you need. In the meantime, let me know if there's any other way I may be of assistance. That's the man who was killed. I'm afraid this is a discussion for once we've cleared the lynching question. Better not tie the forestay to the batstay on this. I hope there is something else I can help you with. This reality.
Yes, reality is your side case. An experimental side case.
Ah, yes, the episode. Sounds like an acute case of encephalopathy, now that I think of it.
Don't be phased, madame. He functions perfectly well. He only needs a lowdown on all of reality.
We may be here a while then. Ask away, officer. I'll help however I can.
All right, we're in. I know these all look good, but begin with the first, okay?
We're in Martinez, baby. A casual term of endearment popular among the 50-plus crowd. It's a disco holdover, pay it no heed. Aren't we all?
She refers to your corresponding ages.
Martinez is a district of Revachol. A very small district tucked away near the industrial harbour, north of the 881 and Jamrock. You would be excused for not knowing about it. Unimportant, they say. Forgotten, even. Shelled to smithereens during the Revolution. It has its charms, just not this time of year. I'm not a good ambassador. I've only been here once before, as a teenager. Not a lot has changed. There are ruins, a terminal, fishing boats, reeds, boys with boxy shoulders. This place used to be a province, a workers' resort before the city swallowed it and the artillery did its work. The reeds are the real star of the show here now. The further down the coast, the wilder it gets. It's not really a sea, it's the Bay of Revachol, and the bay feeds into the ocean. Yes. We're on an island in an ocean, the world's largest body of water, the Insulindic.
Known to the early Revacholians as Les Immensités Bleues, the Blue Immensities.
Caillou, as you already know. Imagine a pebble. A smoothed-over pebble amidst a great blue sea, misshapen, cracked. The cracks are the River Esperance. We're in the delta of this river, on the 6th branch, the Martinez distributary.
It is clear this pebble is of enormous value to her, and to humanity at large.
Revachol? Revachol is what you call a city. The great kind. History detective. They built this city to resolve history. Our part in it, at least. Our centuries. The nations of the Occident, or migrant workers from Seminine and Ile Marat, depending on your creed. In the DeLorean century, 380 years ago. They say it's where the terrible questions of our time will be answered. The tensions are highest, the fault lines deepest. By that I mean conflicts. Ideological conflicts. The stuff of men. We are standing on a fertile, self-sufficient island able to sustain up to 200 million people. In the middle of the Insulindic Ocean, the world's connective tissue. It's where the money is. Oh, we're quite a way off. About...
A collection of tall ghosts behind the water vapor, light reflecting off their glass windows.
22 kilometers from the center of the world. That soldering iron is the bank of the world building. The bottom floors are Insiacom. Coalition government, Insulindian Mission Command.
Silence. She lowers her hand. The water, the light. It's as though you're seeing it for the first time. There is no recognition, only the immensity of the sea and the cold radiating from it.
We are where we are. I have no truer answer to give, unfortunately.
This is one thought you need to complete. Where are you?
Was there something else you wanted to know? I remember something about a lowdown.
This has been informative. Thank you, ma'am. I'm sure my memory-impaired partner has many more questions to ask, about even more fundamental aspects of reality. Might I suggest not asking them all right now? Messier will be here later too, and tomorrow. Isn't that true, ma'am?
Absolutely. My commitment here is long-term.
It's better not to eat all your candy at once.
Indeed. I'm always at your service. Glad to have been of assistance. The little that I know. Any... You're back. Good. What can I help you with? More lessons in basic reality? My favorite part of the day. Go ahead, ask me anything.
It remains a mystery what you mean by this something close. This isn't about you. It's about reality.
Glad to have been of assistance. The little that I know. Anything else?